Welcome to Charleston Uncorked, where the Low Country comes alive. I'm your host, Tony Leone, along with my main man, Scott Harefield, and come on a journey with us through the Holy City as we explore food gems, craft cocktails, local sports, life outdoors, and the issues that are shaping our city. We are pouring it all out, all Low Country, no filter.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Charleston Uncorked. I'm your host today, Scott Harefield, and we got somebody I'm very excited to talk to. Super famous, come to find out. Like, I'm very impressed doing little research that I did, finding out what this guy has done, and it's incredible. Shout out to our buddy Josh Clayman, who introduced us. We did an episode with him last week. And he had referred us to you, said, you got to talk to my buddy Ryan. I mean, this guy is an unbelievable artist. He hunts. He's going to SEWE this year. I mean, you've been going to SEWE since, what, 2013? Something like that? Yeah.
Man,
so, I mean, this guy has
13 years.
So many. I started pulling up all of these awards. You know, he's the feature artist of the SEWE. Used to be the National Wild Turkey Federation's banquet art package. He's got a ton of stuff on his website. You guys need to go check it out. But our guest today is Ryan Kirby. So, Ryan, welcome, and thank you for meeting with me today and taking the time. I know you got a very crazy schedule right now, I'm sure. So, thank you very much.
I appreciate it. It is... It's 2 p.m. on Super Bowl Sunday, so that's like the only time we could squeeze it in. I appreciate you being flexible with me.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, that's a funny segue because, you know, as it is Super Bowl Sunday, and Tony and I have to carve out some time. I was able to make it work today. He, unfortunately, will not be with us, but he'll be with us in spirit. So... Who you got in the Super Bowl? You watch football? You follow it all, or what's your deal?
Yeah, actually, my younger brother has worked for the Chiefs since he graduated college. He graduated college, and I got to brag on him a little bit. He started at the bottom doing cold call ticket sales. Dude, scraping the barrel. Like, is it that movie Rounders? What's that movie where they're just cold calling? And they have a little bitty cubicle and a laptop and what movie is that?
Oh, so I'm not sure which one you're referring to, but there's Glengarry Glen Ross, which is an old classic one with Alec Baldwin, who's like, but that's all about sales and cold calling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's Wolf of Wall Street. They're obviously doing a lot of cold calls. Which movie are you talking about?
I can't remember which one it was, but I mean, basically, like, they had a 2-foot desk and a phone and like maybe a phone book. I don't know. This was like 2006 or whatever. But he started working there, worked his way up, and he recently
Boiler Room.
Was it Boiler Room? Yeah. But it was like that, man. And worked his way up, got promoted to a director. He was one of the youngest VPs in the league, and he just got promoted about a month ago to the chief revenue officer for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Wow.
So he's been with them pushing 20 years, actually, and worked his way up. He's been a VP. And so through that, you know, I was actually a Raiders fan when I was a kid.
Okay.
Because I like the starter jacket. You remember the starter jackets?
Yeah.
And so we've rooted for the Chiefs ever since he's been there when they were terrible. That's why he got hired, is they were awful. They couldn't sell tickets. We've been to the Super Bowls, all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
Kim and I were at the Super Bowl in Vegas when they beat San Francisco. And so I've loved the behind the scenes and the business side I get from him. But we've been Chiefs fans for, you know, the past 20 years. And obviously they crapped the bed this year. So they're not even close. But man, Seattle just looks tough. I would love to see Drake May win it. I love him. I just think Seattle's tough though. and they're going to be hard to beat. So if I had to bet, I'd put my money on Seattle. So,
Okay, awesome. I don't know if you can see my hat or my sweatshirt, but go
Philly?
Birds. Yeah, man. So did y'all go last year?
We did not. We didn't.
Okay. Now, does your brother get a ring?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. He gets Super Bowl rings.
So the front office staff and then the team get rings. So yeah, he's got 3 Super Bowl rings, and they're
so
wild,
cool.
dude.
Yeah,
you ever
that new one. No,
Oh
I've never held one.
I feel like I think Jostens is the company that does them, but they compete, and it's like every year, it's like how much more stuff can we put on them? So I don't even know what Philly's ring looks like. But the last
Their ring is
Chiefs
pretty
one,
ridiculous.
The last Chiefs one popped open the top, and it was a model of Arrowhead Stadium in it. So like the ring opened like a box or something, and it just I'm sure Phillies is next level from last year.
Yeah. So I've seen some pictures and some videos of these ones. They have like wings that are coming off the side of it. Like you can't really tell from a distance, but there's like eagle's wings that are popping on the side, and it's a gigantic ring. And it's just super cool. That's so cool that you're that's wild. Very impressive too, to
Works
be able
tail
to
off, man.
stick with them for 20 years. That's something to be said. Now, tell me about yourself. I've read a lot about you today and over this week, and so I have quite a few questions. But I'd like you to just give our listeners, like an elevator pitch, where you grew up. It looks like you grew up in Illinois, and then you grew up hunting, fishing, painting, all kinds of stuff. Man, tell me about yourself.
I'm really just a small town farm kid, honestly. We had a little over 3,000 people in our town. It was, my parents, and I have a younger brother, and we grew up on a farm. We raised corn, soybeans, wheat. We had a little bit of livestock. Grew up on, I think we had 150 acres at the time. And, really we hunted, we fished in farm ponds, played Little League, all the small town, Dairy Queen, all that kind of stuff. And, man, I just really loved being outdoors, and I really got bit by the hunt. I was in love with fishing when I was younger. And then as I got into a teenager, I started bow hunting, and that's where I really fell in love with it. Had a great high school art teacher that really encouraged us and helped us out and taught me a lot. And then, as if you're an artist, you draw and paint stuff you think is cool. And I thought deer and turkeys were cool, so that's just what I did, and won some awards in high school. And that kind of put me on the map. And for summer jobs, what I would do is I'd bale hay, and then I would paint bird dogs for the guys at the local gun club. So we shot trap on Thursday nights. Me and a few buddies had a high school trap team, and we were the only like youth team. So we were shooting trap with the older guys, and they'd start drinking beer after their round and telling stories and all that in the clubhouse. And after a while, they got to know what I did, and they would bring like 5x7 glossy photos, like printed from Walmart, in.
Right.
And, I was born in 82, so this was the late 90s. And I would paint their bird dogs. And that's what I did for a summer job, is painted bird dogs and baled hay. Went to college for graphic design in 2000, and studied graphic design and multimedia at Bradley in Peoria, Illinois. And graduated from there and got a job at the National Wild Turkey Federation in Edgefield, South Carolina. And that's what brought me to the South. And that's really where I got my start in the outdoor industry. So,
So you said you had an art teacher in high school and in college. Were you artistic before then, or did you just pick it up in high school, or like did you always have a passion?
Man, so Steve Mullins was my art teacher in high school.
Right.
and he, in that small town, like we weren't like a one-room schoolhouse, but there wasn't much more than that. And okay, she's my little artist, and she's getting a piece of paper out of here.
Very cool. How
We're
old's your
in, we
daughter?
kind of have, what's that?
How old's your daughter again?
She's 6.
Okay.
So it's the bottom one. There you go. Sorry.
No, you're good.
We've-
My daughter is 13, and she's also very good at, I think she's amazing at art. She's been an artist ever since I can remember. She's been painting stuff. We buy her canvases and easels, and like her she had art desks that she's gone through that were just covered in paint. So
Yeah.
it's just very fortuitous for me to be able to speak to you because I'm in that world. So
Yeah, man.
I'm totally with you, man.
Well,
So that's cool.
he, everybody asks, is it talent? Can it be taught? And I say it's probably 50-50 maybe.
Right.
Art is just a lot of hand-eye coordination and being able to see something in your head that you want to create and then having the hand-eye coordination to do it. What you can be taught is mixing colors, technique, shading, some of the fundamentals of drawing and painting, and then you can combine the two. I always tell a funny story. We like I said, we were a real small town, and we didn't have a lot of resources in our school. So they had Prismacolors were like the new colored pencils that they were the best, and they're still one of the best. But they were expensive. They're like a wax-based colored pencil. And so you would go into art class, and there would be 3 of us that had some ability and an interest, and we would get the full set of 144. And then there was like some mid-tier kids that would get like the box of 48, and then
Gotta
the kids,
earn them.
yeah, and the other kids just got a box of 12. And you'd get sued for stuff like that from the school board these days.
Yeah.
And I say that because even at a young age, you can recognize some ability and some talent in people. Just, I make a lot of sports analogies. I coach our kids in sports, and there's a certain amount of athletic ability, but you got to teach them the fundamentals of how to play the game, how to
Absolutely.
dribble, stuff like that. And art is really no different. There's a lot that can be taught, and even artistically, I feel like I was kind of a late bloomer. Some kids just kind of hit their stride a little bit later. They may not be phenoms at 8 years old, but dude, if they hustle and grind and work hard enough, they can go to community college and end up in the NFL one day, So there's kind of a mix of being able to push yourself, a hunger to learn, an ability, and the right people in the right places, and timing. It is what I would say to make it as an artist.
Right. And passion. It's got to be passion because, I would assume it's like anything else, you might have a natural talent, but unless you have the passion to continue to do that, even in your off time, and making time for that, the only way you're going to get better is by doing it and doing it and doing it. So, that's very cool. So speaking of that, as someone who has a daughter that's very interested in art, what kind of advice would you give a teenager who's about to go into high school, on how to propel, her career? And, what does that look like?
Yeah, I think at that age, you really just need to keep exploring like what they like. I think that's one of the good things about being young is you can try a lot of different things. And so kind of exploring different mediums. The
Mhm.
awesome thing these days is that the the high school art classes, they have so much at their fingertips now. And we have
Right.
YouTube.
Yep.
You can learn anything you want. And some of these high schools are teaching graphic design on computers. And
Right.
I didn't even touch a computer till I was in college. So I would say, one, I would continue to work on the fundamentals, drawing, shading. That stuff doesn't go away. even if you want to become an architect later on down the road, the fundamentals of art, design, perspective, things like that, I would really hammer that home. And then continue to just encourage her to just try new things, like maybe sculpture or any of those kind of things as they come
Interesting.
along.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I learned is that I studied graphic design because I knew I wanted to do art one day, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to starve. I wanted to
Yeah.
get a marketable skill in college that I could get a career going and then one day do fine art on the side. And honestly, dude, I'm 43. We only just did that where we went in full in on art and sell my own stuff 2 years ago.
Really?
I've been self-employed for 15 years, but I did a lot of client work, a lot of design work in the industry.
Okay.
So I had a fine art ability, but I kind of parlayed that into graphic design. And then when I got a job at the Turkey Federation, I was doing graphic design, laying out magazines and stuff like that, and some fine art illustration. So I think as a parent, what would give me comfort is that there's a variety of things you can do with that artistic ability. You
Okay.
don't have to just sell original art at SEWE like we're doing this weekend. If she's into fashion and she has that artistic ability, go that route, or architectural renderings, or any number of things. And there is a way to make a career out of that without painting stuff and putting it in a frame and trying to sell it. And I never knew that to start with, but I've seen it over and over again. And so like I worked for the Turkey Federation for 7 years, and what happened was a lot of the editors and marketing people would leave the Turkey Federation and go work for an agency. And then they would kick back freelance work to me because they knew what I was capable of. And so I started building up a lot of freelance work on the side. And that's what helped me leave the full-time job. I was still doing client work, doing design work for companies in the outdoor industry. And then the fine art is kind of like my second leaving. Like I walked away from client work in 2023. And so I guess I was always kind of building a side hustle to what I wanted to do. And then when I physically hit that fork in the road where I had to make the choice, I'd bet on myself. It
Excellent.
was just a gradual process. Like, I don't think
You
have
weren't
to worry
thrown
about
into the fire. Yeah, you kind of eased into it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I learned a lot of valuable lessons along the way that helped me in the next phase of my career too. But I guess you don't have to worry about her going to art school and then living in your basement. I mean, she can find marketable skills even if she wants to do her own art one day and work into that.
Right. Well, you've mentioned multiple times, as my buddy Josh has told me, you're coming down to SEWE. You're the featured artist here in Charleston. So what's your schedule looking like? Like, what do you like prep wise? You said your family is packing up. Josh kind of walked us through. He's got so much stuff that he's got to do on Monday, Tuesday. Like, when are you coming down? What's your typical schedule look like? Because, you've been doing this for quite a while.
Yeah. So I was the featured artist in 2023, and as the featured, you can be the featured artist one time.
Okay.
And so they rotate that between being the featured artist. And that year it was crazy, man. You're going to all kinds of stuff. But one thing that I have done with SEWE is, I've never told them no when they needed stuff. And that's one thing that I did when I was young and first there. I had no idea where anything was. They'd say, "Hey man, you want to do a TV interview?" Yeah. Okay, I'll do a TV interview. Hey, you want to do quick draw? Well, dude, I'm scared to death of quick draw. Like, but I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And I took on that stuff and kind of got out of my comfort zone. And over the years, they've come to rely on us. My wife coordinates the whole schedule, but they know that if they need anything, we'll help them out. So
So
all
cool.
that to say, my schedule has kind of snowballed, and it might be the busiest we've ever been. But we rent an Airbnb, and we're going to bring the kids. We haven't brought them in 3 years, but we're going to bring them this year. Mom and dad are coming to watch them, and get there Monday. Tuesday, I think I've got a couple of TV interviews. And then I've got a kickoff event that night at By the Way, where I paint live for like a cocktail hour type thing.
Where are you doing that?
It's called By the Way, Charleston. I think it's Tuesday. It's on the 10th. So, but that is like they do like a VIP ticketed deal. And you buy your tickets, and they have some giveaways. I'll be painting live there. And then they have kind of just a kickoff party through SEWE.
So cool. Wow.
And then I speak at the Citadel Thursday morning. The doors open up for preview hours Thursday at noon for the show. And so that's all the big benefactors, the big time buyers. The show opens up at noon, from like noon to 5, so they can walk the ballroom and buy before the main show opens if they want to. Then we have the black tie gala that night, Thursday night. And then from then, I'll be at the show Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We're doing a giveaway with Purina, so I'll be at the Purina Pro Plan booth sometime on Saturday. Some more interviews and stuff like that, but basically just working the show. So
Very cool. That's awesome. So you paint live. What, like, who comes? You just randomly pick a subject, or
yeah.
What's that like?
Well, I've actually done this all over the place. I've been to New York twice, once for Yeti and once for Filson. And the way I equate it is you're basically just like the cocktail entertainment,
Yeah.
I mean, as an artist, you want the product to be good, and you want your brushes, and you want your setup right. And what I found out, dude, is it's a disaster. Like, it's like freaking candlelight you're painting by, and it's hurting your eyes. You can't see. There's a glare on your canvas and on your paint, and you don't no idea what you're doing. And it's loud. People want to talk. People want to, ask you for advice, or, ask, how was your deer season? And it's like, dude, I'm trying to work here. So,
Yeah.
But what I've realized over the years is you're just kind of the cocktail entertainment for people. They just want to see, oh man, there's an artist over there painting a duck. That's cool. While I'm having cocktails and networking stuff. And so you just have to kind of relax and realize, like, no one's judging you by perfect quality of your work. You're just kind of an attraction there. You're like a little circus pony or something over there in the corner.
Yeah.
And
rich people shit, man. That's funny.
Dude, and they just want, you just kind of have to play the game, and realize that's what you're there for. And a little bit of showmanship. Like, you want to paint, like, for example, I paint pretty quick, but you usually have an hour to get it done, start to finish. So I will paint a little bit of a bigger canvas so that people can see it from a distance. Like, if you're giving me an hour, I'm probably choosing an 8x10, but people can't see that over your shoulder. And so you end up doing some things that are more crowd pleasers than I'm trying to produce a really good painting here. And man, I paint in oils, so oil paint is nasty. It doesn't dry. You rub your elbow in it, and you can pretty much throw that shirt away. It ain't coming out. Stuff like that. And so,
right.
It is challenging, but it opens up doors as an artist because they can rely on you. There's a lot of artists that won't do it because they're like, I can't paint that in an hour, and I'm scared of that. And
the pressure. Yeah.
The pressure, you just got to get over that. And I've found over the years that just being able to do that and being willing to do that comes back to you, because you end up getting more exposure, and there may be a new buyer at that cocktail hour you've never met before, and they might like your piece, and you talk with them for a few minutes after the event, and they might buy something later. So, but it's a shit show for the most part. It's just you are learning how to fly the plane in the air, man.
Yeah, that's the second time I've heard that, like, this week, and I've never heard that saying before. And another one was learning to build the plane while you're flying it. You
Yep.
know, and it was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's a great saying. So what's your connection with the Citadel? You're going to speak at the Citadel? All of us graduated from the Citadel, so
You
I'm
did?
curious. Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, me and Tony and Josh, pretty sure he graduated. He was our classmate.
That's pretty sure he graduated.
I mean, if you know Josh, you'd be like, maybe not.
They just asked me to speak there. The Citadel was starting to form a little bit of an art program, and on the side, like, I think they have a minor now, but for a while, just like gen
Oh,
ed
wow.
elective stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they do have an art minor there, and the Citadel's obviously not an art school per se.
Not at all.
Tiffany saw the tie between, you have the SEWE there, and so she thought it could be cool for some of the cadets to come over or for some SEWE artists to come over and speak to the cadets and give them free tickets and stuff. And so I did it, man, it was 7 or 8 years ago, and we've done it every year since then. I'll go and talk to them, and it was funny. It started out the first year, it was extra credit. So if you screwed up an assignment or missed a class but wanted to make up for it, she would offer you credit to come hear this goober talk about his art, and you could get your credit back, And it was right after dinner. It was in the evening, and dude, the amount of cadets that were asleep at that thing. They've been doing push-ups at like 5:30 in the morning, man, and they get a belly full of meatloaf and try to hear some artist talk about his stuff, man. They just got some extra credit and a nap.
Yeah. Much
But
needed nap, I gotta tell you that.
And like I said, I'm not an artsy dude. Like, I would rather talk to them about business and duck hunting than sit there and talk about my brush strokes and stuff on the canvas. And so it works out really well. I go through like a 15 minutes of my art, who I am, background and stuff, and then we just open it up for questions and just take it wherever they want to. So, but it's cool,
awesome, man. So I've got to ask you, because I've seen all this hunting stuff that you've been doing and growing up. You said you bow hunt and you duck hunt. But as somebody who's not really a hunter, I grew up fishing. I went hunting one time and I didn't see not one thing. I shot a plastic bottle on the ground. That was about my hunting experience. Now I used to shoot, we call it shooting skeet. You call it shooting trap, right? Or trapping?
Well, they're actually two different things.
Two different? Tell me about trapping, because I don't know anything about that.
Well, trap is you have like 5 dudes on a team, and then it comes from one trap house. Okay. And skeet, if I remember right, has 2 trap houses that cross each other.
Okay.
Right? And then sporting clays is where it's almost like a golf course through the woods, and you go out and they have a variety of different angles and stuff.
Okay. So, yeah, I mean, we used to just, you got one person throwing the skeet, as something as simple as one of those handheld throwers, you know what I mean? Or one of those where it's just, you pull a little tag. There was no houses or nothing. I mean, we didn't have, so it was just, you go out to the fields and you pop off some rounds. So
that's how we do it now. This was more like an active range where they kept score and all that kind of stuff.
Cool. Very cool. I need to learn more about that, because that sounds like fun. So you guys were winning or what? Like,
no, dude, we were bad.
No.
we were we were like 15, 16, and everybody else was a grown man shooting. So, we were the only kids. So they kind of put us in our own little division, which we won every year.
Yeah.
We were the only ones.
So, what game are you like enjoying the most? Like, if you're cooking it, I'm assuming you're eating everything you kill, right? What's your favorite game to eat, and how are you cooking it? How are you preparing that stuff?
Man, I am this is one thing where I need to be better at, but I am not like much of a chef. I mean, I
Okay.
can grill, but the wild game stuff is very fascinating to me and it's cool what they can do with it. Our son wants to do everything. He wants to shoot it, he wants to clean it, he wants to prepare it, he wants to do all that stuff. And, I'm kind of like, man, I would rather take my deer to the processor and go pick it up in 4 days and it's packaged and done for me. But we have ended up cleaning several deer here ourselves, just because he wants to do it. But man, I think there is some ways that you can serve duck that's amazing. Um, I went on a hunt. A buyer invited me on a hunt to Missouri, and they had like a 5-star chef there from St. Louis,
Mm.
and they dry age their mallards. I'll have to send
Oh
you.
my
I'll text
gosh.
you a pic of it,
Yeah.
and it was crazy, dude. And he wouldn't season them, he wouldn't marinate them, he wouldn't do anything. He would just dry age them and then thin slice them and put them on a skillet and serve them just like rare, like strips, and they were unreal. But us ourselves, we end up doing a bunch of ground deer is a lot of what we
Yep.
do, and turkeys.
Okay.
We'll breast out turkeys and stuff. So,
Now you said you can grill. Are you a charcoal guy? You a pellet guy? You a gas guy? What are you cooking with?
well, right now, pellet and gas. Haven't been much of a charcoal guy, but we'll do steaks and shrimp here about every Friday. It's kind of our little family tradition. So
Steaks and
we'll
shrimp.
we'll
Very
grill we'll
nice.
grill ribeyes, shrimp, and a salmon fillet for my wife, and that's our
Mm,
go-to. So,
very nice. Well, I got to tell you,
yep.
we get a segment that we do every episode, and it's called "What's in the Glass." So, we started talking before the episode and on how to do the 75 hard or hard 75 and dry January. But it being Super Bowl Sunday, I am cheating a little bit, and I made myself my version of a carajillo. So
Heck is that?
yes, so it's
Carajillo.
this. I put it in a tall glass. So this is my riff on it. I went to Mexico with my wife this year, and
Okay.
the main drink when we were down there that I was drinking a lot of was a carajillo. Now it's spelled differently than, and I'm sure I'm butchering it, the pronunciation, but it is essentially just espresso and liquor 43. That's like the traditional version.
Is
Um,
Liquor 43 a brand? I've never heard of that.
So it's like a very sweet liqueur that is supposed to have 43 spices or seasons or whatever. It's more of a mixer. It's I'm not sure if it's a brand or if it's I've never really honestly purchased it until I had this drink. And then I was like, when I come home, I'm gonna make that. And I started making it. Now I'm doing my own riffs on it. So you were telling me that you like tequila. Well, I add tequila to mine. So traditionally, it's like an ounce and a half of espresso, an ounce and a half of liquor 43, and you either shake it up or stir it, and you serve it over ice, right? One of the most trending cocktails that I've found on YouTube. I follow a ton of people on YouTube that do cocktails, and one of the biggest one of 2026 is the Carajillo Old Fashioned. So they do like
Really?
their own spin on it, and it's like they add bourbon and turn it into a whole thing. Just, you know, I do an ounce and a half of espresso and then 3/4 of an ounce of liquor 43, 3/4 of an ounce of your favorite. I did Blanco tequila. I've tried Mezcal. That's a different
Yeah.
drink. I got to play
Okay.
with the ratios, but it's super delicious. And it's like, in my opinion, it's like the Mexican espresso martini.
Okay.
So
That's
it's
awesome.
delicious, very easy to make. So that's what's in my glass today. So
Yeah.
when you're done, or once you get back, if you get back, if not, we could talk about the alternatives that you have found in your in your journey? Because I'm sure it's tough
Yeah.
going to these galas and things like that. What are you sipping on if you're not boozing?
Man, well, I don't know. I've never been to one where I wasn't.
Yeah,
Now,
so this will
and
be new territory, huh?
um, man, like a 7 and 7 or Crown and Ginger is always my just easy go to at events like this because everybody knows how to make it. Um, man, my wife and we went. I think it was our 5-year wedding anniversary. We went to Mexico. To some all-inclusive deal, and they had a tequila tasting class with this like um agave like rancher,
Mm-hmm.
and they were like legit,
Yeah.
and they were talking about how Americans do the salt and the lime and all that junk and shoot it. They're like, no, dude, it's made for sipping. You've gotta, and they walked us through some of that, and it's kind of been fascinating. But tequila's kind of been my go-to for a while.
What's your go-to tequila?
I've tried several different kinds. Recently I tried Teremana, the Rocks tequila. What the heck? I'm one of those guys that buys by the design of the label at times,
No,
like if I
I
see a
do the
bottle of
same.
wine,
I do the
like,
same thing. Yep.
yeah. So I don't know all the brands, but Jose Cuervo, Teremana. Um, there's a couple of them. They have a white and then like the gold tequila, but they're in identical bottles, and I can't remember the name of them.
Okay.
But anyway,
Yeah, no, it's just curious because that's one of our passions and my passions is when you travel somewhere and you try something different. We do a lot of eating out at nice restaurants, and I try to recreate what I had at those restaurants, and so that's
yeah,
one of my things is.
yeah.
And then I try to not necessarily improve it, but change it and adapt it to how I would make it. Uh, so that's one of my things that I really get down and go
So
down that rabbit hole. Probably too far.
what does your like spread look like? Like if you have a man cave, do you have like 600 liquor bottles? Like how does that?
So yeah, I've been forced to downsize.
Yeah.
We moved last year, and so I ended up drinking my entire supply. I just basically I stopped buying, I stopped hunting, because I've been through the progression, right? So I've had this conversation multiple times, but um, I used to brew my own beer, and then so I
Mhm.
was in the craft beer thing for a long time. Then I went down the rabbit hole of bourbon hunting. So I had a collection of bourbon, which was too too many. I think I had up over 100 bottles at one point.
Wow.
And I scaled it back, and then after that I started doing mixed drinks and cocktails with higher ingredients, and then went into tequilas, mezcal, um most recently gin. I'll go into the
Okay.
liquor store. I've got a local liquor store in Charleston. Well, there's several, but there's one in West Ashley that I really enjoy going to. We did a video, a tour video with them, and um this guy turned me on to gin. I just went there to recreate an aviation because my wife had it at a restaurant that we went to, and this guy turned me on. He's like, "Don't drink that gin. Try this one." And so that went down the rabbit hole of gin. So he's like, "Rum is next for you. You're going to be going down the rabbit hole of rum." I was
Yeah.
like, "I'm not there. I'm not there yet. I don't." I mean, I like some rums, but yeah. So currently, it's not what it used to be. I have basically one bottle of each spirit. I don't like. I don't have a bunch of bourbons. I have, maybe 4 or 5 bourbons, 2 that are special occasions. I've got a daily. I've got like it was a rough day. I need something good. I'm not going to just drink this.
Yeah.
And then, a couple of tequilas, again, a nice tequila, a daily tequila. And because I did dry January, it's all still there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I haven't been drinking it. So I haven't seen my buddy Stuart at the liquor store in a while. I'm sure he's itching to get me back, but
Yeah.
I'll be by there, Stuart. Don't worry. But yeah, I mean, it's just it's interesting how my taste constantly evolve because I'm one of those people that love trying new things, like you were talking about earlier. So who knows what's next? But yeah, currently it's gone down from 3 different like I had a smaller liquor cabinet and then 2 cabinets full and then a secret cabinet, and to where it's one top shelf. And then I have a collection of mini bottles
Yeah.
that
Oh,
I'll
really?
never. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to take some pictures and send it to you, but I stopped collecting those because it got out of hand.
Yeah.
I may have a problem, but
That's cool though. Did you pop
yeah,
them open and try them, or you just collect them like
no,
every time you see a new one?
yeah. So, I don't know where that started, but I just there's like Facebook groups where you can join, and there's people who have these monster collections, like an entire garage
Okay.
full of
Yeah.
any kind of spirit, and not just that, many bottles. So, a buddy of mine and I started making like homage mini bottles, just to like, I've never seen a mini bottle of, Weller Full Proof or Buffalo Trace. You can get those Buffalo Trace minis if you're in an airplane near Kentucky, but the higher end stuff. So when I see just like a unique one, I buy it. And so, yeah, I've got some, like Macallan 15. I got some pretty cool, very rare type stuff too, from Japan and all over the world. It's it's just weird. It's it's
That's cool.
there.
I mean, it's funny because you can go down a rabbit hole in anything, like
Right.
deer hunting, turkey hunting, weed eating. I don't know. you can
Yeah.
you can go
You're
down a
not
rabbit
lying.
hole anyway.
Yeah. I've
And
gone down the
that's
weed
cool.
eating rabbit hole myself. Because
Do-
like no bullshit, when we moved here, I had to buy all new lawn equipment. So, and I think that's, what Tony said, why he asked me to do this podcast with him, other than the fact that we're best friends lifelong. But he's like, you're the type of guy that's going to research and go down these rabbit holes and figure out what's the best mic to use, or what's the best, lawn equipment to buy when you're switching from gas to battery powered, like,
Yeah.
I didn't know any of that. So, yeah, I mean, just like anything else. But I got to ask you, I've seen all this stuff on the internet and looked down your sites, and it has a ton of information on you. But
Mhm.
what would you say, what's not on your website that would like describe what you enjoy doing? Obviously you enjoy art and hunting, but what's not out there?
Man, I love coaching my kids, honestly.
Yeah.
Um,
Now,
Rhett
what
is
sports are you coaching?
so I'm coaching. I coach baseball and then football. We got a tackle football league, and I needed a break once we got to basketball. I told Kim, I was like, "Look, I've been coaching literally, 3-4 days a week since March. When it got to November, I was like, I need a break." And we get real busy for the holidays too.
Mhm.
And I try to go back to Illinois and deer hunt for a couple weeks. So I took basketball off. I'm probably most qualified to coach basketball. But I really enjoyed coaching football. We've got a tackle football team, and our son Rhett, he's our athlete. He loves playing ball. Brooklyn's our daughter. I've never seen a more artist kid in my life. Like, just there's the difference between divergent and convergent thinking. You ever
Yes.
studied that? Like,
Yes.
convergent is there's one right answer and we have to find it. Divergent is there's 75 answers and we're going to go there. Rhett will probably end up being an accountant or something like that one day. Brooklyn is just ultimate creativity, can play by herself for hours, all that kind of stuff. But I'm a really involved dad, and I love that, and I love coaching their sports. So
That's awesome.
And even in the hunting side, like I go and, hunt with some buddies, kind of that's my time in November, but pretty much all the other times I'm taking them and trying to get outside with them. So yeah.
Now, do you only
like being
bow
a dad.
hunt when you're killing
No,
deer or
we
bare hands?
oh no. I will bow hunt myself, but you've got to be the 40 pounds is like the limit to pull back, the lower end. And you got to be fairly strong 10 or 11-year-old, probably more like 12, to pull that back consistently and be able to do it. So Rhett's not old enough to do that yet, and so we gun hunt with him. But I'll take them out and bow hunt, and man, we just have some like kind of priceless memories. Like we spook the crap out of deer when we're out there, like it's a disaster all the time, but it's so much fun, and they don't care. They're just out there to be out there. So, but we had like just this past November, Rhett and had already killed his first buck, and he was super pumped about that. But he wanted to shoot a doe for the freezer, and so we went back out, and I had a ground blind set up, and I told Kim, I was like, I'll take both kids with me. We can go do that, and before it's always been one or the other,
Right.
And when I was taking them out when they were younger, we got in this deal where I would make hot chocolate for them. And then I have Winchester Ammo was one of my biggest clients when I was doing design work. And so I have this big ass thermos. It's like 18 inches tall, and it looks like a shot shell. And then the lid screws off and you dump the hot chocolate out. It's a big thermos,
Cool.
And we would do that. And the kids thought it was cool because we'd make hot chocolate, and Brooklyn would giggle and all that kind of stuff. So we go out and I take both of them. Brooklyn's carrying the hot chocolate. Rhett's got the gun, and we have a tripod for him. And you just have crap everywhere you're carrying out. They get in the blind and everything's good. Brooklyn starts pounding hot chocolate. Then she takes a nap on my lap. Everything's good, man. Life is everything's right in the world. All of a sudden, deer starting to come out into the food plot. And Brooklyn wakes up. She's like, Dad, I got to pee, because she drank all the hot chocolate. And I was like, honey, you cannot pee right now. She's like, Dad, I got to pee. All right, I'll help you pee. We can take your bibs down, and I'll help you pee in the corner of the blind. She's like, no, Dad, I want to go back to the house. And now there's deer starting to file in, and she's getting worked up, and I'm getting mad. And then she starts crying because I know she's busting at the seams. She has to pee. And finally, it started getting tense, and Rhett's like, don't spook my deer, Brooklyn. I'm about to get one. And I ended up holding her in my lap, covering her ears, like, Rhett, just shoot the deer so we can get this over with. She can go pee. And it was a disaster in the blind.
Oh, no.
And then the second he shot the deer, Brooklyn runs out. She's got tears. She never wants to deer hunt again, all this kind of stuff. Right. And I told Kim, I was like, I am never taking both of them again until they're older.
No.
Like, it's not
lesson
happening.
learned. Yeah.
But it's cool, man. We end up doing a lot of stuff like hunting around here close to the house just so I can take the kids. And like I said,
you're up in Boone, right?
We're in Boone. Yep.
Okay. Very cool. My folks had a house up there. I got married in Boone.
You did?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, my folks had a house. You know where Hound Deer's golf club is?
Yep.
So right across the street from there. So I used to. So you say you do some fishing? You fly fish? I used to fly fish up there a good bit.
I'm getting into it. Yeah. Yep. But I've got a lot of buddies that fly fish.
That sounds like right up your alley. If you ain't hunting, you should be doing some more of that. Because I did see on your site you got some You got some trout identification, not just like artwork, but it's like, identifying. You got some posters that you've done that
Yeah.
identify the different various fish. I mean, I don't. You got a trout one. What else? What else are you
We
doing?
got trout, whitetail, waterfowl species. And those are cool because I kind of combine my design background with fine
Yeah.
art. And then I work with nonprofits, like biologists, like that one from Trout Unlimited. I'll work with biologists from Trout Unlimited on some of the facts and maps and stuff like that. So we're not putting inaccurate info out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, they've got this cool place called the Speckled Trout up here, and they have
I've been there.
two. You been there? Yeah, they've got
Absolutely.
2 fly shops now, and then the restaurant in Blowing Rock.
Yeah. I walked Blowing Rock probably, 500 times. We used to go up just about every other weekend. We go up there. Matter of fact, on our anniversary, on our first anniversary, we came back to Boone, and right up the road, my parents had some friends that they had their own private stream. I talked about this in one of our episodes as well, where he used to feed the fish. So
Yeah.
he had every kind of trout up there, and they were just giants. And so it was literally, you just throw a fly in, and it was just for practicing. And you could only go if you were invited by them, right? So it was kind of a secret spot, but and you can only get to it by going through their driveway and into their backyard. Yeah, I miss Boone. We go up there. We tried to go up there, once every other year now, just to kind of get back into things. Because, Grandfather Mountain, we used to go to Grandfather Mountain all the time. So very cool. Small world again,
Man, you have to hit me
So-
up when next time you guys come up and come check out the
Absolutely.
place.
Yeah. I give, we went up and saw Josh and Libby, when they had their restaurant up there. So I don't know if you ever went there, but my God.
That's like a mile from our house.
Really?
From where it's at. Oh, dude, we miss that restaurant so much. I would knock off at like 4:00 on a Friday, and we'd float the river down to their restaurant at dinner and come home. And he's such a dang good cook, and it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and so it's so rare to just have a place that you can drive to a mile from the house that's that good and not busy, fun place to go. And he's a dang good cook, man.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and I'm looking forward to. I hope Tony and I. The plan is to get out and go do some SEWE stuff, and maybe get some footage, and hopefully come by and see Josh and you. So, are you going to have a booth set up, or are you going to be selling your stuff out with
The
the folks?
Charleston Place Hotel Ballroom. Have you ever been in there in the art side of it?
No. I've been to the Charleston Place Hotel, for sure.
Yeah. Up there in the ballroom, they have a company that comes in and puts up all the walls and lighting. And so they'll probably have 100-ish artists that do anywhere from, hardcore like deer, duck, turkey, quail stuff to fish, to scenics, to, marine life, stuff like that. But yeah, you have to check it out. It's pretty cool. But they like us to stay by our work for pretty much the whole weekend. So,
well, if we can make it work, I know it's Valentine's Day weekend. But the plan is to get out there and come see you guys if at all possible. So I do have to ask you, when you come to Charleston, because it sounds like you come here a good bit, what's your favorite place to go eat? You have a place that you frequent when you come down?
So we have some friends that live down there on Johns Island. And man, there's a new seafood place they opened up there. I can't remember the name of it. It's a white building. It's been there for a couple years, and it's really stinking good. But
that's
we
not
end
the
up
one where
doing-
they cook outside over open flame, is it?
No.
Okay. White building seafood. I'll have to.
But my wife is definitely like the social planner of us. I kind of just create all the stuff and then just go on her itinerary for the week,
Right.
which is awesome because SEWE is like, hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that? And I'm in my studio and she's handling that stuff.
Yeah.
But we've come and stayed on Folly a few times, just the family. We end up doing Rita's and Taco Boy and all that kind of stuff on Folly. Which is wild how much Folly has grown.
Right.
It's like high end, dude.
Well, Tony and I grew up on James Island. We're from here.
Okay.
I was born and raised. I've lived in pretty much every part of Charleston that you can live in. James Island. I've not lived on Johns Island, but James Island, downtown, West Ashley, Mount Pleasant. I'm up in Hanahan now, which is, we say we're 20 minutes from everywhere. It's true. It takes a little bit longer to get to Folly, but I've got it down as long as you time it right. You get your whole family of 4 out of the house by 8 o'clock. You're good to go. That's the tricky part, right? As long as you get on Folly by 9. But yeah, James Island, Folly Beach has blown up big time. Huge.
Yeah.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
Tony moved away for about 10 years to Charlotte. And when he came back, it's like, his folks never, they left and came back. But yeah, it's not the same place that we grew up going to, especially Folly Beach. It's huge, but that'll always be my favorite beach in the town. So Johns Island is another thing that's blowing up. Based on when we grew up, there was hardly anything out there. So, anyways, I've got 2 more things I want to ask you, and I'll let you go because I know you're super busy. But I saw that you have your own podcast.
We did. And I really, we did it. I had a video guy, an in-house video guy for like a year, and we were going to try to do a bunch of video stuff. And we started the podcast and it went well. What happened was, though, the video and audio podcast stuff just started to like dominate my life. And, they're both kind of side hustles for the art creation. And man, I was spending 2, maybe 3 days a week on that stuff. And I wasn't producing
full days.
By the time because we would shoot a bunch of video and plan all that. And then we do a podcast, which would usually take a whole morning by the time we kind of planned it, lined up guests and got it all done. So that's probably an exaggeration, 1.5 to 2 days, I bet. But I'm a focus guy, man. Like I like to sit down and work on one thing for like 6 hours, and it was just all over the place. And you know how it is trying to schedule guests. You're like a dang pinball all over the place. And it just got to be where it was too much. So we ended up scrapping it, but we did like 100 episodes.
I saw that. That's quite a lot.
I mean, I liked it. If I didn't have to get involved in any of the admin or the scheduling stuff and could just sit down and talk, I really enjoyed it. So
that's part of the growing pains that we're learning is, video editing and making sure the audio's right. We've stumbled through quite a few things, and it's just like, well, you just got to do it, and then, well, you just got to put it out. And I'm kind of OCD. I like things very specific, and I'm not going to do anything half-ass. So if I'm doing this, I want the video and audio to be as best as possible. It ain't going to be, I understand that it's not going to be perfect, but our first editor helped us with the first episode, and it's just like, we didn't really see eye to eye. He just kept sending us promo videos. He's like, I want to do this. I want to do this. I'm like, I just need you to edit the footage that I sent you. Splice these together. Give me an intro and outro, maybe some music in the background or something. Quit sending me all this shit. I'm not asking. I don't want that. Don't waste your time on that. I want to put this episode out 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So I need you to edit this for me because I don't know anything about video editing. And the guy was like, sounds like you just need to use AI because I'm done with you. It's kind of like, you're a moron. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to do branding. You need to do marketing. I was like, I need a few videos that I can put out before I can worry about any of that. I need to make sure that we can do it, right? And at least can have some footage to edit. So we kind of fired him like right away. And, I've been doing all of the editing since then. And so it's a lot. It takes a lot of time. So most
You definitely got to
recently,
commit to it.
yeah, it's a, so what advice would you have for two young guys getting in the game? Cause we did season 1 last year and we had a few episodes that we had to scrap, but, I think we ended up with 8 or 9. I mean, cause we both have full-time jobs and families. So we're doing this, as we can. The goal was to do one a week. It turned into like one a month, maybe.
Yeah.
And then we couldn't get anything done around the holidays. So our goal this year is to be more intentional, higher quality, and get a few more reps under our belt. And
Yeah.
so, any advice on maybe what
Man,
not to do
I
or
think
something to focus on?
I think it's all about just consistency, really. And I also think that we live in a world where, I think the kids call it UGC, user generated content, is we're so used to it. We're so used to cell phone videos. And that's where, it's not that I didn't fire any of our video guys, but we all just kind of like saw the end of the term and moved on. I ended up having 2. They're kind of all the same. They want, hey, we need this $7,000 of camera equipment to do this right, and we need smoke-filled rooms and ambient lighting and this and that and the other. And that was the thing. That's the reason why we got away from it, is I was catering so much to video. And as an
Yeah.
artist, that's a real slippery slope, because you end up painting things that you think people will think will be cool in a video, and you're not like really authentic. And so that's why we got away from it. But I think learning to do it yourself is awesome, because even if you do end up hiring it back out, I always think it's dangerous, like just hiring stuff out with having any idea what they're doing or how they're doing it, And if you're OCD, like, it's good for you to have an idea, so they're not bullshitting you when they tell you all this stuff. But also, I think it's just good to have that base. But I think the two things are authenticity and consistency. Like, the moment you start doing crazy things just to get views that you don't care about, it's kind of like you kind of lose your soul a little bit, and it always never pans out. It didn't for me anyway. But yeah, if you're going to do it, you got to be consistent with it. And honestly, a lot of stuff in life is just outlasting people that get tired and quit,
Exactly right.
I make a lot of sports analogies, and I tell people all the time, like, we're in a unique business because I kind of have to be the product and run the business side, I have to produce the product. And it's kind of like, if you're an NFL quarterback, you got to win games on the field. Like, all these other videos and sponsorships and endorsements and all that crap, that's awesome, but we have to play the game. We have to win on the field, or all that stuff goes away. And so we got to the point where all the extra stuff was coming in, like, I was missing training camp to shoot a video, and you can't do that.
No.
Jalen Hurts can't do that.
That's right. Go Birds.
I'm a Jalen fan, by the way. I like him.
You are? Good. That's good
dude.
to hear, because I had to spend probably 2 years convincing Tony, who is the reason I'm an Eagles fan. He's born into it, that Jalen is a fantastic quarterback, and get behind him. He was on, I don't know about this guy. And I'm like, dude, guy's a stud. Not only that, he's hungry. Not only that, he talks like a coach all the time. Like, you can't tell me that he's not going to do something for us. And I mean,
when he got benched at halftime of that Alabama championship, that was a defining moment in his life. And he
100%.
could either take to social media and spin out of control, or he could get back to work. And I feel like he got back to work, and I've liked him ever since that, honestly.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
and just seeing how he deals with, a new offensive coordinator every single year, every single year from college through now, is and to be successful at it, that's what I think is most impressive. But
yeah.
last question for you, because I know you got to run, is we ask everybody this: who should we uncork next? If you were part of our team uncorking, basically, is there somebody that you think would be worth it to sit down and just have an hour-long conversation with us?
That's a great question. You know Paul Puckett?
I
He's
do
an
not.
artist in Charleston,
Okay.
and he plays in a band. He's a musician.
Ooh.
I need to connect you guys with him. He's a
Okay.
great dude, man.
Love it.
He's a big time fly fisherman.
Love it. Well, Tony, my partner, was in a band. He was a lead singer of a rock and roll band for quite a long time, and
That's awesome.
yeah, it's hilarious. But yes,
Yeah.
he's that would be awesome because we both love fishing. We love music. I mean, that's another passion of ours. So that'd be
Yeah.
super cool.
Paul would be a
Once
great
again,
one for you guys.
yeah,
And I
he's
can
local. He
connect you guys.
lives here now.
Yeah. Lives there
okay,
now.
Sweet.
He's done a bunch of stuff. He's mainly a fly fishing artist. But yeah, Paul Puckett. You can look at his
Paul Puckett.
stuff.
I
Yeah,
will.
he's got some great stuff. And he's a cool dude, like super chill. I don't know what kind of band he plays in, but I know he plays. There's also a guy, just speaking of art and musicians, there's a guy named Mark Maggiore from out west.
Okay.
And he does beautiful, like Western cowboy scenes with epic clouds and stuff. And he's got the total like artsy vibe to him, all that stuff. But I found out at one point he was in like a French Pantera, like a rock band, but in
What?
French, like headbanging. And it's so crazy because it's like shirtless mosh pit stuff in his music, but his art is just like amazing, and it was just
Wow.
kind of cool. But I've never been a musician, so I think it's cool when people can do art and music together. That's impressive.
Yeah, super impressive. Very talented. Well,
How
once
big of a
again,
band
thank
was
you.
he in? Was Tony in?
He was so I think he had lead guitarist, definitely a drummer. He was the front man and he played harmonica. I think so, maybe five-piece band ish.
Did they ever make it?
So somewhat, yes. I mean, they 21st Century Goliath, I think is the name. He was in a few bands. One was Dirtbag Love Affair. That was like grunge rock and roll,
Yeah.
Living in a van down by the river type music. But yeah, I used to go to all of, every show I could anytime they came back into town, because at the time he was living in Charlotte. So but he and another buddy of ours did some like kind of like bluegrass rock, some like rockabilly type music
Yeah.
together. That was really fun. I loved watching that. To see, them do like kind of bluegrassy type music. That was super cool. But yeah, when you meet Tony, you'll
That's cool.
totally get those vibes. But thanks again. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your crazy busy schedule to talk with me today and kind of go through what it's like to be an artist that does super cool work. I'm so excited to share some of your work with our viewers and listeners because your stuff is incredible. Now, where can the people find you on your website?
Yep. Our website is ryankirby.com. And then most of our social handles are Ryan Kirby Art. So Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube.
Love it. we will share it. So thanks again. I appreciate it, and hope I get to see you this weekend. If
man,
nothing
would love to.
else, we'll come up and we'll visit in Boone. So
Yeah.
thanks again.
I
And
appreciate it.
cheers, everybody. Y'all enjoy. And if you haven't already, get your tickets to SEWE. And if this posts after SEWE, y'all go check out Ryan and come to SEWE next year. It's always a great time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Charleston Uncorked. The only way we are going to grow is if you tell your friends. So please like, subscribe, and share. We would be eternally grateful. Thank you again for listening to this episode of Charleston Uncorked. We hope you enjoyed.